All right, it looks like we're recording, so I just want to take a second and welcome everybody to our business boost today on AI presented by the fabulous Collin Lyon. We're super excited to have you here today, Collin. I know you've helped me so much with AI, and I just love it, and I just can't wait to learn more about it and some of the new tricks and tools that you've got. So I'm just excited to be able to share all this with everybody because AI in your small business can really make a difference for you in some of the things that you can do and how you can automate things as well. So I'm excited to share this. And without any more ado, I'm going to turn everything over to Collin to kind of take it away for us. So
Yeah,
here you go, Collin.
thanks so much, Wendy. I'm Collin Lyon. I'm a wealth strategy advisor at Anderson Financial Strategies, but I also dabble quite a bit in AI. And so it's a little bit of passion project of mine. I've learned a lot about it. I've been using it for probably about 2 years now, pretty consistently every day. And like what Wendy said, this is a game changer. So when you think about AI in a business, specifically with operations, brainstorming, analysis, so many different applications are super relevant with an AI, and just ways that it can just make it so much better for your business and all that. Now, I like to be as interactive as possible, so feel free to drop any questions in the chat or anything like that. I'll keep my eye out for that. If you have any questions as we kind of move along, if we can do a specific application or something like that, I'm more than happy to help answer that. Just go ahead and drop it in the chat, and I'll keep that chat open so I can be attentive to that. So there's a couple things that we want to go over. First, I want to talk about AI as a mindset. So that's going to be the first thing we talk about. How do we think about AI? And that will really drive a lot of how you use AI. The more experience you have with it, the better you're going to get at it, just like anything else. But really, it's about developing that innovative mindset of, oh, I wonder if AI can do this for me. Chances are it can. So we'll talk a bit about that. Then I'm going to go into some of the tools, specifically ChatGPT, the big one that everybody talks about. There are others. There's Grok, there's DeepSeek. I feel like every day there's another couple, but those are the big three right now. They all have their strengths and weaknesses. I use ChatGPT because it's really good for content creation. It's also really, really good for memory as well, which we'll get into when we talk about that. Then I'm going to go over another tool or two and introduce you to guys some of those other tools that are available AI-wise for content creation, brainstorming. And then we're going to talk a bit about automation. So how exactly do we leverage AI to be able to help us scale our businesses or scale our processes, save us money, save us time, help us be more impactful with whatever mission that we're going after. And that's kind of the goal today, is really to provide the tools to help you guys leverage these AI advancements to help you make a bigger impact in whatever your vision and whatever your goal may be. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. Let's talk a bit about what AI is. AI, there's a lot of technical terms for it. I'm going to keep it super, super simple. AI is basically an assistant. It's somebody that it's not a person. It's just this thing. It's trained on all the data in the world. So anything that's ever been posted online is free game to AI LLMs. When you put anything into AI, it is now readily available as well. So, if you're using this in your more sensitive business, I wouldn't recommend putting anybody's personal information into it because anything you use in ChatGPT, I know for sure that is now used to train the machine. So, a couple rules around AI is, don't put personal identification in there. Use it for problem solving. A lot of times I'll use it to solve math problems that I just don't have time to do, things like that. But try not to put any personal information in there. Also, it's not a replacement. So it's not quite there yet. Who knows if it will be someday, but it is really meant as a help for you. And I'll show you a bit what I mean with that in a bit. But another really cool thing about AI, and this is this AI mindset I want you guys to develop, is think of it as an assistant that you can just delegate tasks out to. If you would have an analyst say, hey, I need you to write me up a report or do some market research against a competitor, give me a strengths and weaknesses analysis of them, and then tell me and my business, here's my website, how do I beat them? It can do that. And so when you think about tasks, a good exercise to do in the beginning is just open up a Word document or pull out a piece of paper, whatever you prefer, and start writing down tasks that you would love to have done, but you just don't have the time, or you don't have the resources, you don't have the manpower to do, and think, how can AI do this? If you kind of approach it with that mindset, I think a lot of applications come from that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here to give you guys a couple of examples here. So, all right, you guys should be seeing a ChatGPT chat. You guys all see that? Perfect. All right, so we're not going to get quite into this chat yet, but this is just what ChatGPT looks like in case you've never used it. I am on the pro version, so I pay $20 a month. Best $20 I ever spent. I'm not sponsored, but it's a fantastic tool to have. I'm going to show you some of the functionality here. I can't actively prompt right now because my Wi-Fi is so slow, but I'll be able to show you some different chats and things like that. But right out the gate, you see all of my chats I have ever had are saved. So if I know, one time I had this chat with ChatGPT 2 months ago, it was about something like this, I can go up here to the search bar and I can, earlier I was looking for a deep research project I did on tariffs not too long ago, because we all know tariffs are a hot topic right now. And I was able to easily find it right there. I can pull it up, I can reread it, I can remember the things that I learned from it. So it's very, very handy. These up here, over on my top left, these are called custom GPTs. Now, these are really cool because whenever you have a task that's repeated over and over again, say you have to write an article every week, or you have to perform some research every week, or you have to, edit a podcast every week, whatever it may be, you can create a GPT and train it. So for example, I call this my Sean Jr., right? Because Sean Anderson, he's our analyst, very good at investing. But what I have done here is I have trained it to take market data. I can go out and I can say, you ready to do an analysis? And I've already pre-programmed this thing, which is very easy to do in ChatGPT, by the way. It says, go ahead and upload the charts and data. So it knows I'm about to upload 3 to 5 charts of data. So when I go over here and I look for guide to the markets, and I find, for some reason I'm on Yahoo, but I can then upload using this nifty little button right here, upload from computer. I'm not going to do it now because there's files on here, but I can upload these images, I can upload these PDFs, I can upload all that, and it will read it, analyze it, and because I've trained it with CFA knowledge and I've trained it with CFP knowledge from different books and things like that, I basically say to it, this is your role. And it takes all the internet and says, okay, this is the internet that is relevant, anything pertaining to investment analysis, right? So instead of getting all the blog articles of, people talking about random infinite banking strategies or anything like that, it ignores all that and sticks to the parameters that I give. So I told this thing, I said, you are a CFA and CFP. You will remain to those materials that are credible, that are reliable, and true, basically. And that limits what it can take into. In addition to just having custom GPTs, like for instance, there's also Explore GPTs. This is anything you could possibly want. You want a new website, you can literally just prompt it and it will build you a website. It's not the best website in the world, but it's pretty good, actually. It's not an awful website. You can use it to make logos. I feel like these kinds of tools are what democratizes the ability for people to start up businesses very, very quickly. It used to take a long time and a lot of money to create these kinds of things to start a business. And now, like website, logo, initial blog articles and copy, very easy to make with ChatGPT. If you're looking for a job, resume, you can upload a resume that you already have and say, make this look nice, and it'll do it. You can even upload your resume, upload a job from LinkedIn or Indeed or wherever you're looking at, and say, you are an HR professional with 10 years of experience. I want you to match my resume and my experience to this. And I also want you to ask me 5 to 10 questions to tailor my resume to that job description, right? And that's kind of where you go above and beyond with an AI. So very simple AI, above and beyond AI is where you ask it to ask you questions and brainstorm with you. Gives you great outputs. Another thing here is projects. So I'll go ahead into one. So we are in the process of looking at building out a family office offering for our ultra high net worth clients right now. And you know what you'll see is I have added files in here. I guess you can't see. But for example, I need help. Sometimes I'll even use it to make it prompt. So I'll say, hey, make a prompt for really good training, for training a good ChatGPT project that will help me create a business success center for a local nonprofit, right? This was something I helped the chamber with. It looks like. And so you can use it to help you craft the right prompts. Speaking of prompts, let's go ahead and get into that now because I know I don't want to run out of time before I get to the really cool stuff. There are a couple of things with prompting. A lot of times, initially, people will just type in just a question, right? Like they'll use it like a Google search. Now, Google search is cool and it's good, but it will be instantly flagged as AI. It'll be very vanilla. It's not going to be tailored at all. And ultimately, it's just not going to give you the output that you're really looking for. So what you do is there's a couple steps. Number one, you assign it a role. So think of the task you're doing and think, who is the absolute best person I could possibly have do this? Not by name, but more by occupation, unless it's somebody really well known, like you want Albert Einstein or something like that to help you with your theory of relativity essay or something like that. Then you can do that. But in this example, I wanted it to help me build an outline for a video, which I'll show you in a bit. Just to, hey, I need some marketing content. I don't have a lot of time to build marketing content. So you are an expert marketer and financial planner with years of experience. So you say, here is who you are. That is shrinking the internet that it has access to. So it is saying all the random stuff out there. I'm just going to focus on the stuff pertaining to marketing. I said expert marketing, so it's going to give me good marketing advice, right? With expert marketers. Years of experience, which means it's going to have a thought process through this, right? ChatGPT has thinking capabilities. I'm a financial planner, so you say, who are you? What's your role? So you define who it is, you define who you are. About to present a brief video to a group of business owners at a local chamber of commerce in Beaver Creek, Ohio. So who's the audience? So these are the couple of things. I'd be taking notes if you can, right? Give it a role, define who you are, tell it who the audience is. Then many of these audience members are small business owners wondering about how they can benefit from using me as a financial planner. I help as, and then, so this is essentially the prompt. Just this top part right here, every prompt is going to have. You're going to have the audience, you're going to have its role, your role, and a little bit of context. Then I really just go off. A lot of times I'll just talk to text because I just don't like typing and I like using it like Jarvis from Iron Man, right? So you just say, hey, this is what I do. I help business owners set up their own 401k accounts. I advise them on plans ranging from solopreneurs to 200 participants. I know how to walk people through the complexities of those in an easy way, follow compliant regulations. Now, here is the task. So after you give a little bit of context, then you give it the task. Write me a very short 20 to 30-second video script for an advertisement where I'd be speaking to this audience. Now, if you just left it at this is going to be an excellent output, okay? ChatGPT will do a really good job at this, and it'll be very, very fast. But if you want to make it even better and be able to trip up AI filters, which is always a good thing, right? You give it a tone as well, a tone and voice. So oftentimes, what you can do, if you use ChatGPT a lot like I do, you'll actually upload a couple essays or things or videos that you've written and you've done personally so that it can understand how you talk. It'll get your mannerisms, if you like to say turns of phrases or things like that, it'll use that. It'll pick up on that and it'll adopt that as this is Collin's voice. So everything, if I just say, write this as if you were me, it can do that now. But I'm going to give it a tone. So I say the tone should be engaging and trustworthy, establishing credibility and reliability. I want them to feel like they would love to work with me and know that I would do a great job for them in their business. The call to action, just a little bit more context there that I kind of put there at the end. So pretty good prompt. Here's what it gave me. All right. Hey, business crew, business owners, blah, 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 blah. Cool. Now, I don't really have time to record this because I'm a busy guy, right? So I go over here to one of the other AI tools, and this is where it creates a web of AI, right? Wendy is really happy about this. But you can actually have, are you guys able to see my new screen here? Did it port over? Cool. I have an AI self. Basically it's a deep fake that I've authorized that I can use for myself. It's very cool, saves a lot of time. It's not perfect. It's not 100% perfect. It is getting better every year, but if you're just really crammed for time and you have to get something out like client communication, or you just have a generic announcement, or you're just trying to get more visibility. We all know video does much better than text on LinkedIn and any social media platform. So this is the solution. This is not me, okay? But this is the copied and pasted script from here into here. Let's give it a look.
Hey, Beaver Creek business owners, I know running a business is a full-time job. Sorting out retirement plans, that can feel overwhelming. Whether you're flying solo or managing a team of 200, I help you set up 401ks that are smart, simple, and compliant. And I walk you through every step. But it's not just about your employees. I also help business owners plan for their future, sending kids to college, traveling with grandkids, or retiring with confidence. Let's make sure the business you're building today supports the life you want tomorrow. Schedule a quick chat with me, and let's start mapping out your plan. Hey, people.
Oh, so were you guys able to hear that? It sounds just like me. It might not be as enthusiastic, but that's okay. It is a great tool to be able to leverage your time. Now you got to think, how long would it have taken somebody to craft a script, put it in a video, and actually make this out? This took me last night roughly 5 minutes. And I'm not exaggerating. I can show you exactly how this is done. Once you make your AI avatar, which is a very easy process, you just have to talk into a camera for 5 minutes. Once you make it, I literally just go here. I click an AI avatar, start from scratch. I like landscape photo just because I don't really do reels very well. And here I am. Boom. Add a script. I literally just copy and paste. Copy, paste. And that creates the script. All I got to do is this. I'm not going to do it now because I only have one more video left for the month because I do not pay for this. But it will make the video for you just like that. Now you might be thinking, okay, Collin, that's really cool and all, but how do we make it even better, right? So let me teach you guys this. So You know, it's always going to ask a question because it knows that I'm a business person, it knows what I do. I program my ChatGPT, and actually, the cool thing about this is it will remember everything about you, even if you said it in a chat months ago, right? This is a new development that ChatGPT just came out with, that they have infinite history, basically. So if one time you said, "Hey, I'm actually allergic to nuts. Can you give me recipes that don't have nuts?" Right? 4 months down the road, you'd be like, "Hey, I'm catering an event. I need some food recommendations." It will not give you anything with nuts because it knows you're allergic to nuts, which is just mind blowing, right? Um, so I say to it, and I say, "Good." Now, add in the offer that I also help business owners. So I wanted to make it a little bit more broad. I said, "Okay, I also do private client stuff. I like to help business owners with the personal financial plans, not just their business one. Let's go ahead and add that in. Make it 45 seconds long." And it did it. Boom, right there. And I think this is actually the prompt that I used for that video, was this one right here. So it gives me that, it meshes it together, and I'm like, okay, cool. Now you are still that marketing expert with 10 years of experience. We're going to do the same thing, make a 45-second video prompt promoting my 401k planning services and all that good stuff. The audience is still Beaver Creek. Keep the same tone and style. So I'm referencing previous things, which is absolutely okay and encouraged. It saves you time. First, you will interview me to get all the details you need to make that script. I want it to be very specific, and use your marketing knowledge for what works and ask the right questions for the interview. When the interview is done, give me 2 different scripts to use from. Right? So now we're taking standard ChatGPT. So I've taught you the first level, good prompting, right? Tone, style, audience, and then making sure that roles are defined, right? That's good prompting. Now we're going to take it a step further and make it so that it really creates quality content. Now, it's going to ask me good questions. Now, it asked me all these questions, biggest mistakes that you see business owners make. What's a good story? When was a time that you helped somebody do that? What was a big win? What was the loss? What's your superpower as a financial planner, right? Now, if you're anything like me, I type okay, I'll just, Windows key H, which is voice to text. You can also, with the pro version, you can also do this voice mode, which probably won't work because of my Wi-Fi, but let's give it a shot. Hey there, how's it going?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you?
Pretty decent, thanks. So that enables you to have a chat without ever having to type anything. Just like, you think back into the Avengers where Tony Stark, he's working in his lab and, things are going all over the place. It's very cool, right? It's just like that. Welcome to the age of Tony Stark. So instead of answering all those questions like that, I just told it, bunch of stuff, no grammar. You don't have to worry about spelling and grammar in ChatGPT. It can handle awful grammar. And so, I answered all the questions, really, really long, right? Did not type that. I don't recommend typing it. It's going to say updated saved memory. So now for every future interaction that I have, even outside this chat, it is going to remember what information I just gave it. So once again, don't give specific information about specific people. Very important not to do. And then it gives me these options. There's option A, story-driven, emotionally resilient. Story B, direct, persuasive, benefit-focused. So now that I have these 2 scripts, what am I going to do? I have a little bit of marketing knowledge, and I know that A/B testing is a good thing to do, which is why I asked for 2 scripts. So I say, hey, you're going to conduct an A/B test to determine which of these 2 scripts is going to be better. So it sets it up. Here's the goal. Identify which video script leads to more appointment bookings and engagement from Beaver Creek business owners. Goes through, it gives me the test elements. It creates the study for me. And then at the end, it gives me the likely winner, script A. Now, I have been told by ChatGPT's research on openai.com that this is 87% right with A/B testing, Bayesian logic of determining which avenue for decision making is best. So it actually is a pretty decent decision maker, probably better than most of us. And so now I know, all right, I'm going to go ahead and make a video script. So I take video script A, I plug it in here, and I make my second better video. You guys ready? And tell me what you think, if this is better than the first.
Hey, Beaver Creek business owners, I love helping people like you. I recently worked with a solopreneur who had no idea he could put away $71,000 a year for retirement, until we set up a 401k with profit sharing. That's a game changer. I make it simple. My team handles the heavy lifting, from plan setup to one-on-one help for your employees, choosing investments, Roth versus traditional, even setting up beneficiaries. And beyond your business, I help you plan the kind of life you want, whether that's passing on your company to your kids or taking your whole family on that Alaskan cruise in retirement. Let's chat and build a plan that works for your team and your future.
So intonation's a little weird. I would have preferred it to be a little bit different there at the end, but very good, right? Isn't that so much better? It's so much more specific. It connects with people. You don't have to use this AI avatar. That's really more of a time-saving thing for when you really need it. But I will say there are a lot of Instagram influencers where you see those reels and like this is half of the screen and the top half of the screen is like that, you know, they're crunching cake or just weird stuff like that, right? You guys have all seen those. That's meant to distract away from the fact that it doesn't quite match up, right? And so that's how a lot of these social media influencers are creating just massive amounts of content. And you're thinking, how do they have time for this? Well, this is how. Now, I'm going to show you how do I make this automated, right? So why do something over and over again? Even this thing that took, 10 to 15 minutes to make, why do that every day? Why do that every week? So I'm going to go ahead and work on automating it. So now make me several iterations of these kinds of things, right? I'd like to automate it monthly videos for the next 12 months. Each one should have a different enough to feel differentiated, but still get the message across. So it gives me basically the semblance of a prompt, right? So I just say month one, here's the hook, theme, tone, call to action, hook, theme, tone, call to action. And now, after I get all that, I'll be taking notes here. You ready? You can automate it using things like Zapier or make.com, right? If you follow me on LinkedIn, you may have noticed that just in the last week or so, I've posted every day. I have, like if I look at my LinkedIn metrics, last night when I looked at it, I had 1,200 impressions and I hadn't logged in on LinkedIn. I had not posted a single thing. And it's because I have an automatic AI agent doing it for me. Now I check everything and I'll show you how that process works. Before anything is posted, I double check everything to make sure, okay, yeah, this is true, this is right, which you still should do with AI because it is not perfect. You shouldn't just copy and paste everything. You need to read it first and make sure that it is true because it does hallucinate sometimes. So I'm going to say, yes, make it compatible with Google Sheets and prepped for implementing with make.com, Google Spreadsheets to ChatGPT automation workflow. And I'll show you what that means. So it creates this nice thing. All I got to do is copy and paste. Now, I did not do this part for the demo because it takes a couple hours to put together, but I am going to show you what I did to do something very similar with this. So over here, so you guys remember how it had, tone, hook, call to action, all that good stuff, right? Those would be your table headings, all right? And these are all of my LinkedIn posts scheduled out for the next 30 days. What I have is I have title, channel, which is always LinkedIn for me because I don't really use anything else. Audience, right? So we're building a prompt for ChatGPT here. So you got to think like, who's this for? Audience, keywords, which I did not do. Tone, also, which I did not do. Outline, I didn't do that either. Article, didn't do that either. I literally only put in title. And what I actually did there was I had ChatGPT, hey, come up with 30 different posts that would be good for, be like business owners near me that they would want to learn about on LinkedIn, right? Copy, paste, make sure it's all good. put it in there, right? Nice and easy, right? I didn't even have to do much thought in this. And that's where I say it really is an ability to leverage a lot more time. You're just checking things. So I put this in, put this in, and then I go over here to make.com. Now this is a learning curve. I'm not going to lie, you will spend many, many hours trying to figure this out, but I'm telling you, it is so worth it. I have over here, I have Auto LinkedIn Social Media Creator. Basically what it does is it takes this Google Sheet, right? So I connected this Google Sheet from my drive to the spreadsheet, which is social media posts, which is this spreadsheet right here, right? So I link that spreadsheet to here, tell it what sheet, the range, all that good stuff. And I say, that is your data. This is what you're going to use. You're going to take this data and only this data. That is it. Then you're going to create keywords. So I link my OpenAI account. This is done through what's called an API key, which I'm not going to show you because it's very confidential. But if you go into ChatGPT Pro, you'll be able to get API keys and do this. It really opens up the world for automation. It's these API keys. I encourage you to Google it, do some research, learn about API keys if you can. There's not enough time to get into it here, so I'll just show you the functionality and why it's worth it to learn it. I'm going to give it a prompt. So here's its identity. Hey, ChatGPT, you are, right? Like what we discussed earlier. You're a social media marketer for a private wealth strategy firm in Dayton, Ohio. You know, Anderson Financial Strategies. You have title. This is coming from there. So you see when I hover over it, the Google Sheets is there. It's saying where it's drawing that data from. This is where the automation comes from. I'm saying, okay, in the title column of that spreadsheet is where this data comes from. And that's what allows you to do this en masse. You can literally do this up to 10,000 times if you really wanted to. I only do it 30 at a time because that's too much to read. But you can technically do it up to 10,000. So it doesn't have to be for social media either. This can be, you know, you link, somebody visits your website. You have it automatically take that website visitor into a Google spreadsheet. That Google spreadsheet then goes into a lead nurturing campaign, which is customly built for that person, right? You can do that stuff. You're tasked with writing social media content on B, the channel, which is LinkedIn, in that column there. You have this audience, blah, blah, blah. I say, okay, now here's what I want you to do. Here's your task. Return back 10 keywords that help it for SEO. Don't return back anything but the keywords. That's important because you want ChatGPT to do things one step at a time. If you give it too many steps, it gets kind of confused. It's not quite there yet. Really, ChatGPT can probably handle up to about 3 steps per prompt max. But in here, I just keep it 1 because I didn't want anything to get messed up and have to do it again. So I just kept it to 1. So don't return anything back but keywords. And I give it an example. I want hashtags because hashtags are SEO keywords in social media, right? So I do that. What's going to happen is it's going to go from here to here. And automatically, as soon as that's done, it's going to go here. Tone, same thing, right? It goes, you know, from the keywords and it says, okay, you have these keywords, you have this title, you have this audience. And I have the result from this. So here, now you're going to create a tone here, you know? For example, the tone is professional but optimistic, you know? This is basically automating me having to go into ChatGPT and write out a new prompt every single time for each post that's really, really tailored, which is really where the value comes from. So instead of having to do 30 of these custom prompts that might take, you know, 3 minutes to do, it is now taking no time at all because I've automated it. Outline, post, all includes all those things. And then it updates the Google Sheets again, right? So I have it linked back to here. Now, here's the interesting part. I'm going to put the results from each of these. So this is the result of the keywords. It goes to the keywords table there. So it'll automatically update. I save that. And as soon as I run it, which I'm not going to do because it costs a little bit of money to do each time, it cost me exactly 8 cents to do. Darn, you know, a whole dime. But it's already populated and I like the stuff and I don't want to have to reread it all again. So you click run. And what I like to do sometimes is you can actually schedule this too. So you can create a custom schedule. Like if I wanted to do this, you know, regular intervals, or once every day, days of the week. So if there's specific things, and this is as innovative as you want to be. There are some of these trees that are like 50 modules long, and maybe it takes $1.50 to do each automation. But anything, like, the sky is the limit with this. If you can think it, you can probably do it for automation. But that is how that was populated. Now you might be wondering, okay, well, you still got to copy and paste it into LinkedIn. No, I don't. Because I have another scenario here, which goes from that spreadsheet into my LinkedIn, and then it updates the spreadsheet. So what that means is what you'll see here. Oh, it disappeared. Is here at the end, I have this status button here on my sheet. And you'll see it says posted, posted, posted. But if I go down enough, ready. So this is tomorrow's. You guys are seeing the future right here. So tomorrow, what's going to happen is my automator is going to go into my Google Sheets. It's going to grab the next row that says ready. So if you look at my LinkedIn, you'll notice that this was posted exactly at 7:30 this morning, right? I haven't even logged into LinkedIn yet. And tomorrow it'll be this one. It goes to LinkedIn, and then it updates the row so that it doesn't repeat anything like that. But this is where, automation is just so key. It's an amazing tool that I think everybody should be trying out. It takes a long learning process, but it is so worth it, and it'll save you so much money. You got to think, how much time would it take, right? How much time would it take to create all these posts, vet them, post them? Realistically, if you wanted to do a video, just to give you an idea of what's possible, I can also add in a HeyGen link right here. And I can create the HeyGen link, have it post to my link, like create the HeyGen video, then post that HeyGen video to my LinkedIn. So I don't even have to record. I just have to vet the script, and that's it. And you're done. You have unlimited video content. You can do this with pictures. So you can add in, I'll just show you. You can add in what this thing is HTTP, and you can go to a stock picture site, right? And you can say, okay, this stock picture, you're going to create a prompt for this first. So first to do it, AI one, give it a prompt, say picture, create a one word that would be perfect for a stock photo generator, for whatever the output is, right? And the Google Sheet. So link the Google Sheet to that. It now goes into the stock photo picker, types that in essentially into their search bar, and picks a picture. So most of the time it's going to be pretty on point for that post. And now you have text and post, right? And a picture with every post, and you didn't do anything. This is where a lot of content creation is coming from. It's really scalable. It takes a little bit of time up front. Very, very worth it. So that is kind of the big stuff there. Now, I do want to open it up for some questions now. I'm seeing that there's some things. So anyone's mind blown yet? Yes, excellent. So that was kind of the demo. Now, there are some other tools out there. Just for a quick 5 minutes, let me go ahead and do this real fast. If there is something that you wish to have, there is something for it. Let me show you a couple. So we got sorry. So I'll show you a couple more. So here we go. So this are other AI tools. Learning has gotten so much easier. You can learn almost anything with AI. Something that would have taken you hours of research to do now only takes 15, 20 minutes. You upload, like sometimes when there's a new court case or something like that, because I do a lot with estate planning and that kind of stuff. If there's a new court case and a trust was busted by some court out there, I'll take that court case, because it's public record, totally fine to do this. upload it into this, and it creates me a podcast. Very natural sounding too, by the way, of two people talking back and forth, explaining like, oh man, did you hear about that court case that happened just last week? Oh, I did. The one where this happened and this happened. Yeah, busted the trust because they did this. So I hope clients understand not to do this. And they talk about it for 10, 15 minutes. And I understand the entire thing, didn't have to read a bit of legalese ever. It was great. So that's one tool. Another tool, let's say you really don't like doing graphics, right? You can create instant visuals. Napkin AI. All of these tools are free, by the way. Everything that I'm showing you here, totally free. You know, you just wrote a blog article and you want to kind of spice it up with some images or graphics or things like that. Go ahead and copy paste it into Napkin LM, and it'll build stuff like this for you, just to directly input into those blog articles. If you look at some of the blog articles that we've come out with on our website, you'll see I do this all the time with a lot of our blog articles, just to, you know, graphs are easy to understand. It makes it look good, good content there. So those are some of the tools. I don't want to give you too much just because go forth and discover, you know, but I think that's a really good start. What questions do you guys have?
Yeah, feel free, folks, to
Yeah,
ask.
just
I know
go
that
off
some of
mute.
your minds are blown like mine are, because Colin and I knew of some of these things, but the automation to make stuff is crazy.
That's something I recently discovered that I've nerded out on. It's pretty amazing. And that's not even a true AI agent. AI agents are able to think and make decisions, which is my next step of learning, right? Learning how to make those, where you can actually attach a tool to these things. Say, okay, hey, here's the Google spreadsheet database. I want you to be able to use this tool to update it, all that good stuff. Here's your prompt. Here's the AI ChatGPT API. And then I'm going to just say, okay, anybody that calls in, use my voice double that I used from either HeyGen or there's 11 Studios, there's another one. You know, use my voice double to answer the phone, qualify that person. So you're going to ask questions like, well, tell me a bit about yourself. You know, why are you calling today? What can we help you with? Right? And it can do this. I mean, this is out there. If you don't want to build it, you can always pay somebody to do it. But, you know, I like to nerd out about this stuff. So I suggest you learn how to do it.
Hey, Colin, I want to know when you can come over and we can build an AI and to get rid of Chris. Can we
Yes.
build
Oh,
an
man.
AI? to get rid of Chris?
I
What if we
agree.
built
Come
an
do it.
AI that takes the most mundane tasks away from Chris, so then Chris can get out there and do the things that he loves even more, that really drive chamber growth, that find new members, that do all those kinds of things.
Yeah, Chris,
That's
go do
the
that.
value.
And I don't have to be out there in the public with Wendy, right? I can do that on my own.
Yeah.
You can do it
Yeah.
on your
Well,
own. That's
you have
fine.
to be
man.
with me, sorry.
No, I don't want that AI.
It's a
Yeah,
panic
and I will say, this is going to happen, right? Like this is happening. It's going to happen. And in the future, there's, you know, a lot of potential turmoil over this, right? Like, you know, you got to think unemployment. I mean, just in the near future, think AI driving cars. You know, we already have them.
But you know, to that point, my son's in college and he wants to go into marketing. And, you know, I feel like you know, to me, one of the skills for anybody, right, in a business is learning to use the tools makes you valuable because you know how to do the prompts, you know how to use these tools to automate. And so, you know, they can become very valuable to a company to expedite a lot of the mundane tasks, maybe, but without that person knowing how to prompt things, how to set things up, that's a big gap for a business to me. So while certain tasks or jobs, to me, the way I'm seeing it at least, that might be done away with, so to speak, through AI, you still have to have somebody behind it to manage it, to ultimately, you know, oversee it. And, you know, so to me, I don't know, you think that's accurate?
I think that's absolutely accurate. I think even beyond that though is if you learn how to use these kinds of tools and you learn how to use them well and you use them consistently and get better and better, like I'll tell you, I'm even better at AI now than I was when I sat down with Chris and Wendy. Like just thought process of prompting and things like that, it just comes more naturally. You just get better over time. I'll tell you, I think what's going to happen in the future is crazy scalability where, right now, for example, a financial planner without AI max, I have time for maybe like 60 to 80 clients, right? Realistically. Whereas in the future, as we have all these AI agents and they become more secure and we're able to use them up to their full capacity, right? Those kinds of things. So it's going to be a 5-year, 10-year process, but my capacity will steadily increase. So instead of serving up to 80 clients, I might be able to serve 250 clients. So instead of just having there's limited access to financial planning knowledge, there's limited access to that kind of stuff. Eventually, it'll be completely democratized. Everybody will have access to everything that they need if we use it correctly. And that's another key thing about AI is it can be used for enormous good. But obviously, you can probably see how deep faking people like, the president or something like that could be bad, right? And so it really depends on how you use it. So use it thoughtfully is a good
Yeah,
encouragement.
AI ethics will definitely be a hot topic moving forward, probably, right?
Absolutely.
Can I tell you this morning? So I'm reading this book, and this guy was talking about how to take your expertise and make it valuable to the world or clients or whatever. And he recommended, look at your testimonials. What have people said about you? What have they? What are some of the key themes that? And I was like, huh. So I on my personal website for my leadership coaching I do, I went and I copied and pasted because I've been collecting written testimonials for several years, copied and pasted them and said, give me the key themes and highlights from that stand out from these. And it gave me like 4 key themes, and then it gave me like different skills even that were highlighted in it. And then I said, now boil that down to 3. And it did. And then I said, well, give me 3 words that would describe me to somebody. And it did. And then I said, give me a 2 to 3 sentence description that could be a good, kind of a elevator speech, so to speak. And it did. And I said, well, give me 1 sentence that I could put like as the header of my website that would describe, and it did. Like, this is the same flow, right? And if I would have gone through to take all those testimonials and tried to figure out like, what are all these people saying? What are the key themes? What are the key words that stand out that maybe I've helped people with? A, I would have never done it that well. And B, I would have missed a lot, I'm sure. So, I think this is like where it's huge. Like, what have your clients and customers saying about yourself or your business? Put those into ChatGPT or one of these tools and ask it to synthesize that, because now all of a sudden when you're going out to networking events, when you're talking to a prospect, when somebody walks into your store or whatever, even better, because there's things that I thought about myself, for instance, that I thought that might be true but when you look at all the things that people actually said, it verified some things, and it also gave me some new things to consider. So I think as a financial advisor, insurance, real estate, any business, and could you speak real quick, Colin, about so like even if I'm thinking about, can you put a URL for a website into one of these tools, and can you get it to kind of highlight or summarize the value of a company or what they offer in the same way that I did, even from a personal standpoint?
Absolutely. So I do that all the time, actually. So what I'll do a lot of times is I'll put in like a competitor's website and say, hey, review this website, give me a SWOT analysis, strengths, weakness, opportunities, that good stuff. And, now compare it to our website and then say, how can this be done better? And then it'll give you specific things like, oh, hey, your call to action is a little far down the page. Maybe you should move that up. Or, hey, we noticed that, your loading time is, 4 seconds or something like that. If you want to increase SEO, go ahead and back it up to the cloud or something like that. So it'll give you very actionable tips, but only if you give it that role. So I'll tell you that is you want the better the role assignment on those things. So like you say, hey, you're a business analyst, but also with a high technical knowledge because I want you to look at these things and I also want you to understand marketing, right? So if you could have the ideal professional, you give him all three of those skills, right? And say, go at it. Now there's a question here. So Adam asked, do we have a responsibility to state something is AI, like hey gen or videos or things like that? I'll tell you, I really think there's probably going to be some laws about this. So number one, ChatGPT there is some legislative going through the pipeline right now where AI models are going to have this embedded tagline code for everything that's generated by them so that anytime it's read, it's been visible to us, right? But the engines will be able to pick it up to say, okay, yes, this is AI generated, take it with a grain of salt. So it's not adding to new knowledge, which is really the big risk with that. As far as video generation, I mean, I suppose right now it's a matter of preference. I would say if I introduced it once, it would probably be enough. Personally, like I have not used HeyGen with clients yet, just because I also don't feel super comfortable doing it yet. Just because you can doesn't mean you can, I could see it being really relevant for like restaurants. I could see it being really relevant for merchandise, retail businesses, things like that, to just, be able to pump out content because people just like to consume content. And I don't think like if it's trying to be more authoritative, I'd say, yeah, absolutely. Like, hey, this is, maybe instead of calling myself, like Wendy does, she doesn't call herself Wendy, she calls her Twindy, right? This is my AI twin, you know?
Well,
So
something that
that's
I did, and,
would be,
like for us at the chamber here, right, is we don't typically write a lot of blog articles, but I thought, there's some good tips out there we could obviously get from AI and the internet, obviously, to help our businesses. So what I started doing was, you're a marketing expert, write a blog article on 10 ideas for how to market yourself during different seasons of the year, I think was our last one. And it did, and then I said, okay, now give me the social media post to promote the blog article. And it did. But what I've done
yeah,
at the end of the blog articles is I've kind of put an asterisk and I'll put article created by ChatGPT.
yep,
Because in our situation, we don't need, it's not like we're trying to be the go-to expert on this topic necessarily. We're just trying to find content that's helpful to people that, are members or could visit our site. So to me, I'm big, because I published 2 books too, I'm very big on accrediting,
yeah,
but even beyond that, I've always wanted to give people credit where credit's due. So, I'd say, hey, Collin did this great training. I wouldn't go and take everything you've said today from this video, turn into my AI script to go do it myself and claim it to be my own, right? Like some people would do.
yeah.
I
So
don't do that.
I'll
I,
also tell you that it gets a lot more specific too when you use that process like I showed you guys of, hey, I want you to interview me and use my responses to craft this. Because
yeah.
then it's just a copywriter, right? Like
Mm.
they're just writing. It's still your content, it's still your words. And so when you use AI like that, I really think it's a lot more of you than a machine, because it
Yeah.
is using just the data that you just gave for those articles. So I really encourage using that technique as well to create good copy.
I love the fact too that when we set up some of the I call them my chat bots or my GPTs for different things, as I love it, Colin, where we have it set, and I've done it a few other times where it asks me questions because I feel like when I'm asking it to do a blog or search some things, it'll do that, but then it'll ask me questions. So it inputs in and includes my perspective or my take on something or my style of writing. And so, like you said, I feel like that kind of makes it my own. And you can also ask ChatGPT to cite or provide the cites for the information that it got too. So you can still cite something and give credit where credit is due. But you can truly create something of your own in 2 seconds. I mean, I was using it all day yesterday for a bunch of stuff, and it was so crazy. Well, I've been training it, right? That I would ask it to do different things about the chamber. Or I said, well, what are the benefits of the Beaver Creek Chamber of Commerce? I didn't say anything else, but I've been training it. And I had my little notes written down on a couple things I wanted it to, talk about, but I didn't ask it. And it said all of it. I was blown away. It even said some really cool things, and it gave me some snarky comments because I like snarkiness. Imagine that. And it was just crazy. It did it all and more. And I was like, you just can't, it was great. And I did. I was doing like some scripts and different things for some videos and some content that we wanted to create. And it was all there. And it was a time saver. I could never have done all of that. I mean, it would have taken me days to do it.
Absolutely.
And it was awesome.
So something to consider as well. So like how you mentioned how it cites things. So that's a feature unique to Pro. So if you're on the base version, it's not going to cite where it gets the information, which can be, take it with a grain of salt, right? But the nice thing is on Pro, if I ask it a question or do some research for me or something like that, it will give me exactly where it got from. I can click on the link and it'll pull it up in the same window in that like a side tab, and I can read through the article exactly where it got it from. So it gives you a little bit more transparency there, but this is also a really important thing. As people migrate from using things that are traditional for finding businesses or help or things like that, from like Google search, Yahoo search, those traditional engines, to using ChatGPT, how do we get in front of customers, right? It's by AI SEO, basically. So a lot of times it's if you want to do that, then in any of your blog articles, start each header instead of having it say, I'm doing an article on tariffs, right? Because I just did that. Instead of saying, something like tariffs can lead to trade wars, I say, can tariffs lead to trade wars? And then my paragraph, right? So it's almost like you're playing what's that game where you Jeopardy, right? Where you answer with a question.
Oh yeah.
Think about that, and that's how you really get a lot better SEO within an AI engine. So that when people ask, hey, who's the best financial planner in Dayton, Ohio, it comes up with Collin Lyon,
You can train the internet.
Okay, yeah, no, seriously. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that is the idea here.
But I
Yes.
think but I think what some of you've highlighted, and I hope everybody's picking up, is that it's so much about being really, I think the skill, right, to develop, at least initially, is prompts. How do I prompt in a way? Because to me, that's been very helpful. Like, don't be generic, right? When you say you're a marketing expert or you're a financial advisor, you're a chamber executive in this area, like the more specific, the better. And I think that is something that I think a lot of people are missing still. So maybe that's even as people begin to really experiment and work on this, it's work on becoming better and better at prompting. Because like I said, today, like even this morning when I was doing it, I'm like, my mind is blown at how quick it all gives you information. But then I was like, okay, well, now take it and do this. And you can now take what you told me before, now take it and do this with it. And the more, like you said earlier, it's your assistant, right? Think about if you had a person next to you that was an expert that was asking you questions or that was doing tasks for you, what would you tell them to do? And I think that kind of removes some of the I'll say the weirdness or the uneasiness for people about AI. It's just think of them as being this helpful assistant, right? With you. And I think that changes, to me at least, it changes how I communicate. Now, I did see something yesterday, though. I don't know if you saw this, but it's saying that Sam Altman from OpenAI, he said that people saying please and thank you is actually draining, and using more energy. So don't be nice. You don't have to be nice.
Yeah, I was just about to say something like that. So it's an assistant, but it's still a machine, right? So it will lower the quality of your output by saying things like please and thank you, like, hey, please do this, or thanks, that's perfect, blah, blah, blah. And it reacts really, really well when you give it colossal pressure. So the more pressure you can put on this thing, the better. So like if you're doing your prompt and it's really important and you really want good sources cited for a research thing, or you're doing something there, you can say, by the way, the president of the United States' plane will crash if like you don't get this right. It doesn't have to be rational, but it needs to be colossal and catastrophic. Or like my entire livelihood depends on this. I have 5 kids. Please don't let me down. The more pressure you put on it, the better prompt it's going to be. It's a really weird phenomenon, but it is true that is a thing with prompting and getting better outputs.
Well, folks, we are right at 10:30.
I was
So
gonna say, it is that time. It's 10:30, so we want to end on time, just like we start on time. Why? Because we want to respect everybody's time. But I just want to thank everybody for being here and listening. We hope you got some great information. We do have links and all in the chat. If you want to copy that, or if you missed anything and you want to reach out to the chamber, we can get you all the information from today. Obviously, this was live streamed. It also was screen recorded, so it will be on our YouTube channel, so you can catch it there and watch it several times to get all the good scoops from Collin. But of course, most importantly, Collin, thank you so much for being here and sharing your wealth of knowledge. I mean, it's incredible. It just blows me away every day using it and all the things that are coming. So I appreciate so much you taking the time to share all this with us. So thank you so much. And thank you everybody again for being here today. Go on out and make it a great day.
well, one quick plug before we sign off.
Oh,
Next
wait,
month, May
what?
20th is
Oh,
our
yeah.
next Zoom Business Boost. And we're actually having Elise Coulter, who you might recognize from the local news. She actually does camera consulting and coaching now. So she's going to be doing an on-camera basics training
Yeah.
for us because
And Chris, you're going to have to pay a lot of attention to that.
it's about you being good on camera, not me filming you.
No,
I'm gonna have her fix her presentation just so it gets me off the hook. But no, she's gonna come in and she's gonna talk about, because video, like Collin said, video is so prevalent now. I mean, we're watching it with the chamber, all the shorts and reels that you're seeing on the chamber that we're getting help from Carlos from Vigilante Media right now. Those are getting like 600, 800, 1,000 plus views versus a still photograph or just a general post is getting like tens, if that. And so she's going to come on and talk about what do you need to think about when you're doing videos and presentations and for social media and just any video content you're doing. So that's going to be awesome. May 20th, 9:30. We're going to do it just like this again. I already seen her presentation, that at least the draft of it that she is going to do for us. Super exciting. And so I invite you to mark your calendar, May 20th, 9:30, Elise Coulter, and we will see you then.
All right, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you again.
See ya.